Welcome to Copilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of a show,
but also the second. Some shows don't have the best pilot episode, and giving it a second chance might just change your mind.
Here, we take that chance for you, and let you know our opinion on if a show deserves more than one shot.
I'm Justice. Alongside me is my co-pilot Josh. Now, let's get ready for takeoff. Your in-flight entertainment this time will be jet lag.
The game. So there's a few things we need to hit on before we actually get into the review. First, that was the perfect amount of milk and sugar to tone down the spice of that spice chai. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Second, we didn't do a holiday episode this year.
Because I had such severe sinus drainage that I woke up the day we were going to record it, not because I was uncomfortable, but because I couldn't breathe from the amount of snot and bile that had drained down my throat.
And about the same time he got over it, I started getting sick. And I don't know if you can hear it, but that's why I'm drinking this spice chai right now.
And I don't know, there might still be a bit of a thing to my voice, but it's not nearly as bad as it has been.
Yeah. I woke up this morning, I couldn't even talk for the first half hour. So.
It's been great. So no holiday episode this year. I mean, it's fine.
We could lie and tell you we were just very busy with the holidays.
But we weren't. Instead,
that's...
it was arguably less fun.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's get into the airplane in the room, I guess.
Yeah.
We've never, I don't think, as a proper episode, reviewed a reality show or a game show.
No.
This kind of falls into both of those.
Yeah.
We also never reviewed an actual travel show, which this is also a travel show.
Yeah.
So this is a bunch of firsts for us.
I think the closest we've come to this is the dinosaur documentary show. And that's weird by saying that's the closest thing.
Well, if you count the interstitials, we did talk about The Mole, I think. Was that the one?
Yeah, we did.
The Netflix remake, and it was terrible.
Yeah, not good.
So this is us reviewing a game show, reality travel show.
Yep.
Called Jet Lag the Game.
Which is a YouTube series, not made by YouTube, but made by Jet Lag. That is the name of their channel. And it's also a Nebula series. It actually goes out first on Nebula now rather than YouTube.
And if you don't know what Nebula is kind of like YouTube, except
but better.
The creators on the platform make more of the actual money.
And it's creator-owned.
It's creator-owned. It doesn't have ads, but it does require a subscription. However,
it's like $30 for a year.
Hell yeah. The subscription is $3 a month, or you can get it a little bit cheaper if you buy it by the year.
Yeah.
Additionally, you can also just buy Nebula Forever.
For it and / your lifetime, whichever one ends first.
Which is $300. And that may sound like a lot, but...
You're really just gambling that it's going to continue to exist for 10 years after your purchase.
Which is a long time. But if I had the option a year ago, 2 years ago, to be I could just pay Triller TV, Fight.tv Triller, 5 years, 10 years of subscription fee, depending on how you calculate it, because and I would have it for forever. I might have done it.
Yeah. And Nebula's been around since what?
At least 8 years now?
Yeah, something like that. So it's been around a while. And it's not the most successful platform, but it's successful enough that the creators can keep it running. They still post content there. There are also so many creators on there that you may know from YouTube, or you definitely know some of them from YouTube, even if you don't watch their content, make original content that only goes on Nebula. So, and also this is not sponsored by Nebula in any way.
Just to go over some of the people who are on Nebula.
Yeah.
There's Legal Eagle.
Yep.
Makes Nebula original content and is a member of Nebula. We got Windover Productions.
They are the people that make Jet Lag. Windover Productions is technically ran by Sam Denby, one of the people we will be talking about in the show, who made Jet Lag as a secondary channel that they have where they make Jet Lag the game.
Nebula also includes CGP Grey,
Yep,
Real Engineering, Real Life Lore,
Tell Foundry, Tier Zoo,
TLDR News, Answers with Joe, Mobox, Rasputin, The Back Focus,
H.H. Bomber Guy's on there, Lindsay Ellis, Minute Physics,
Curious Elephant,
Not Just Bikes, Patrick H. Willems.
But yeah, it's a bunch of creators who are probably making some of your favorite content on YouTube anyways, in a place where they make more money.
Yeah.
And
literally the way their profit share works is so much better too. The standard distribution is half of the platform subscription profits go to the creators, and then it's based on watch time on a portion of revenue they get. And then the other half of their stuff is like upkeep of the website, the servers, and then in-house productions, which has assistants for, they'll create productions and editing graphics for Nebula originals, as well as some cross-platform videos they do. So they're also still receiving benefits from the money they do not directly earn from Nebula.
In addition to being like video streaming platform, it also hosts podcasts and has classes you can take.
And merch.
And all of that, except the merch, is included with your $3 a month.
Yeah, and the merch is specific for creators, so they can also sell merch through the store.
Look, if it sounds like we're shilling for Nebula, it's because I've been a Nebula subscriber pretty much continuously for the last 4 years.
Yeah, and like the crazy thing is it only has like less than 1 million active subscribers.
It's a good way to support creators you like, and also watch stuff without commercials, because YouTube is filled with ads nowadays.
Yeah.
And let's face it, YouTube Premium's way more expensive than $3 a month.
And we said there's no ads on Nebula, and that's true. The only thing you'll see that our ads are like maybe a bumper at the end where they're talking about other shows on Nebula you could watch or other creators, and not everyone even does that. That's just certain creators will do that because like, hey, check this thing out. Or they might mention Curiosity Stream,
because
depending again on the creator, because Curiosity has a stake in Nebula now, and you can get some pretty good deals through Curiosity Stream and Nebula compared together and stuff.
Well, not anymore. They used to be part of the same entity, but Curiosity Stream is its own thing now.
Yeah, but I don't. Do they no longer have their stake in it? I could have sworn their stake. I think they might still have a stake in Nebula, at least. Because they bought their stake into Nebula in like 2021 or some shit.
All I'm 100% sure of is that there's no longer a bundle for them.
Okay, other way still. Nebula's neat.
Because Curiosity Stream in 2023 announced in an SEC filing that they would no longer be sharing their revenue stream with Nebula, and so the bundle was dismantled.
Either way, still super fucking neat, and I think that's it for what we're going to say about Nebula. Instead, we're going to get into Jetlag the game from this point on.
Yeah. Episode 1 is entitled, We Play Connect 4 by Traveling to Actual U.S. States.
A very YouTube title, because I do believe it was originally conceived of as a YouTube series, and it also went on YouTube about the same time as Nebula.
Indeed. So to lay it out, the way this game is going to work, because this is a game show first and foremost.
Yes.
It's a reality competition show. The way this show is going to work is each team has $5,000.
Yeah.
And that is to pay for all of their travel needs other than, like, buses.
Public transport.
Other than public transport.
Yes.
So if they need trains or Ubers or taxis, it has to come out of their $5,000.
Or car rentals.
Or hotels. And it's a 3-day competition, $5,000. And they're only playing on the west side of the United States, anything west of the Mississippi River.
Yeah, because, let's face it, the eastern states are weird and wonky and fucked up and really easy and or hard to make a straight consecutive line for Connect 4.
Whereas the west side of the United States is mostly squares.
Yeah, someone looked at it and went, we can be smart about this.
Now, this also doesn't include Hawaii or Alaska because
it'd be ridiculous.
But the conceit of the show is you're trying to land in 4 states and gain control of them, quotation marks, before the other team can. There's 2 teams.
There are Sam and Brian and Ben and Adam.
Sam is the founder of the channel. He's the Sam Denby that you were talking about earlier, who
runs Windover Productions. And I don't know how much of a productions that is, like as an LLC or anything, but I do know it is involved with like his original thing on YouTube before he started doing Jetlag.
And then Brian is a special guest for this season. And then Ben and Adam are going to be reoccurring guests for the show.
Yes.
The guest hosts. Like, they're just part of the show.
But yeah.
So team 1 is Sam and Brian. Team 2 is Ben and Adam. Now, how you gain control of the state is by once you arrive in the state, you need to go to the Capitol building of the state.
And once you are there, you will shuffle some cards you have and choose one. And it is a challenge card. On it will be a specific task you have to do. If you succeed the task, you take control over that state.
If you don't, there's a penalty cooldown before you can draw again.
Yep.
Now, the penalty cooldown might sound like unnecessary, but it is a 3-day window.
Yeah.
And they have to stop playing at 9 p.m. Because from 9 p.m. to
9:30.
From 9:30 p.m. to 4:30 a.m., they have to be in a hotel.
Because this is apparently not the first time they did this. They did a test run series, basically, I guess, where there was no rule on sleeping and or having actual meals. And they discovered they need to do that. Otherwise, they run their cameraman into the ground. Or
people just don't sleep and don't eat.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
So,
and everything we'll see in this, which actually I'm going to go and say it because it's very neat, and it's not centric to the quote-unquote plot of the show. The constraints of the show seem fairly reasonable. You have to eat at least 1 meal. You need to sleep. When traveling by car, if you're driving, you cannot break the speed limit because that is irresponsible and dangerous. And in a competition, the idea of competition would encourage the breaking of laws. And like, don't do that. And anytime they are taking a plane, they are paying for a carbon offset for their travel.
Indeed. But that doesn't come out of their $5,000. It just comes out of show
that is a production operating budget of, hey, the entire conceit, we are flying a fuck ton, and it's really fucked up for the environment, so we're going to pay for our carbon output, which is still not great.
Yeah, there's some arguments to be made about how effective carbon off-putting is, but
it is better to do some than none at all.
Yeah.
And their personal carbon imprint for these flights is always going to technically be so minimal that in a large-scale operation of the world, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, because they're taking passenger jets that are already doing these routes.
Yeah, so them having any carbon output from that is useful, at least still.
So that's all of the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to get back into why a penalty matters, though, because not only do you have a 9:30 p.m. curfew, but also if you are trying to get certain planes to get to another location, having a 30-minute penalty where you can't do anything
fucking sucks.
Can throw off your entire schedule.
Yes, it can.
So let's get into the actual show, which opens with both teams talking about how important the California-Nevada coalition is.
It starts with both teams in the lobby of the Chicago O'Hare Airport Hilton Hotel or whatever.
At 4:30 a.m.
Yes. Well, just before 4:30 a.m. because they're establishing what the conceit is. They're the ones who explained all the rules that we just explained to you, but they explained it to us.
But they didn't explain all the rules at once.
It's easier that way. And there's a few fringe things that might pop up that we'll mention when they pop up. Like they do. And so now they separate off into their own separate hotel rooms because they met the night before and they're going to get going at 4:30 in the morning. And they then both talk through what they think are the important plays in the opening of this Edge of the Midwest to West Coast Connect 4 game.
And both teams separately talk about how important the California-Nevada combination is.
Yes.
Because California and Nevada are both simultaneously vertical with each other and horizontal with each other.
And they're both pretty fucking massive.
Additionally, they both offer you 2 separate lines in a horizontal Connect 4 and 2 separate lines in a vertical Connect 4. Because in the vertical, you can go California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington.
Yes.
Or you can go California, Nevada, Idaho, Montana.
Yep. And then in the vertical, you can go like California, Nevada, Arizona, Missouri, Mississippi, one of those two.
The horizontal?
The horizontal, yeah. So
if you go horizontal, it offers you a bunch of different options, actually. Yeah. It offers you got California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado.
Yep.
California, Nevada, New Mexico.
New Mexico, not Arizona.
Sorry, California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico.
Okay.
Or you have...
New Mexico's between those two.
Or you have California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, forsaking your Nevada. Like, there's a lot of different options there. You can even do California, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming.
Yeah. So you have a function of options with California, Nevada. So Sam is talking to his partner Brian about how that's going to be their best play. It's going to be a great play to start the game to go to California. And he's pretty sure Ben and Adam are aware of this too. But he doesn't think they realize that while yes, they could catch a flight directly from Chicago to Sacramento, the capital of California, instead they could catch a flight from California, I think it was to San Francisco, and then catch a rental and drive to Sacramento and be there about 30 minutes before Ben and Adam will land.
Which 30 minutes is enough to attempt a challenge and take California before the other team could grab it.
However, while Sam is talking about how important this setup is, we got to Ben and Adam where they're like, so California and Nevada are super strong, but we both think that's overrated and we are the ones who designed this game.
And so we find out their plan the next morning is to go to Denver, Colorado from Chicago. Yes. Partially because the only time the other team can know where you are is
when you claim something.
Is when you claim a state capital. So that means Brian and Sam
probably think they're going to go to California.
Will be in the air still while Ben and Adam are landing in Denver. And instead of claiming Denver right away,
they are going to go up into Wyoming because Wyoming's capital, Cheyenne, is just barely past the border of Colorado. So they can drive there in about 2 hours.
So what this means is when Sam and Brian are landing in California, Ben and Adam will be claiming Cheyenne. And that means they spend an extra 2 hours or so not knowing where Ben and Adam are,
And Ben is just really excited about the idea of making Sam stress more about what they're doing.
Well, it's not just like that. It is like that.
No, but he is super excited about the idea of it.
That's why Ben's super excited about it. But it also gives Sam and Brian less time to strategize for a counterplay.
Yeah. The only downside to Ben and Adam's plan is they have to get there super fucking early at the airport. So there's this, honestly, this show has great editing back and forth between the parties, which we haven't illustrated super here, but as they're talking about the importance of Sam, that Sam sees in California and Nevada, they then cut to Ben and Adam, they cut back as they're explaining stuff, and in the morning when they take off, they cut back between, we start with Sam and Brian who are calmly walking down to the airport. They got enough time to get there. Their flight leaves at like 8 or something.
I think their flight left at like 7?
Maybe.
6:30, 7 o'clock.
And they get up at 4:30, and they are at the hotel right next to the airport, so they got more than enough time. And then we cut to Ben and Adam, who are running to the airport.
Because their flight leaves before 5:30. I think it's like 5:20.
Yeah. And then we see Adam struggling with something, with his boarding pass was fucking up, so they're rushing even more. It's just a great juxtaposition, and they're cutting this so well, because as they're rushing, we see Sam and Brian talking, and Sam's like, yeah, they got a while before they can get their flight directly to Sacramento, so I assume they're just like taking it kind of easy, Cut to Ben and Adam panically rushing through the fucking airport, being like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, it's not working, we can't get through, we gotta go find someone to help, we gotta find an actual human, we have them help us.
Yeah. And that does individually lead us to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where Ben and Adam get the first challenge of the game. And their challenge is to catch 3 bugs native to Wyoming. They don't actually fact check the nativity.
Yeah. Though an important thing to note is their budget they had talked about was already going to be pretty tight for the overall plan. Mm-hmm. And the very first car they go to get, they already get upcharged on because Adam booked it for the wrong day. He booked it for 5 days from when they needed it.
Yeah, this show takes place...
Well, 7 days actually.
On March...
3rd, 4th, and 5th of 2022.
And he booked it for March 10th, so he booked it a week later.
Yeah.
So they get the car, they get to Wyoming, they got to find some bugs. Mm-hmm. And this is the big issue, though, because they're in Wyoming. It's roughly 12:30, 12 o'clock, because it's just after Sam and Brian landed. And if they'd taken the flight from Chicago to Sacramento, they would have landed at 12:30. So it's roughly noon right now. It's a 2-hour drive back from Cheyenne to Denver.
Yes.
They have a flight out of Denver at 4.
Yep.
They have to kill this challenge as fast as possible, or they will not make their flight.
Mm-hmm. So while they're busy trying to find some bugs, which they determine they can't find at the Capitol building because it's not foresty/grassy enough, so they get in a car to drive to a creek.
Before we jump back to Brian and Sam, though, I do want to mention Ben and Adam endear themselves to me very quickly here.
Yeah.
Because they start raiding the Capitol buildings.
They do. They are raiding the Capitol buildings, a certain amount of flags out of 7.
And Cheyenne gets a 5 out of 7 U.S. flags as a Capitol building.
Yes. So then we cut to Brian and Sam, who are just getting off their plane in Sacramento. Well, in San Francisco. And they're getting a car to Sacramento. They get their car, easy, no problems. And then they're in for a drive. And Brian just... The entire drive, really. He's making anti-leftist comments, but not like...
He hates liberals because California's gas prices are too high.
Yes, but he's doing it in a joking manner, obviously.
He hates global warming because the trees are on fire.
Because they drive past a forest that's looking very bad. And Sam's like, I don't actually think it was the forest fire. I think it's because of this beetle that pops up that's going out over here and just destroying the woods and everything. And so then he says, oh, I guess we should have just voted for Putin.
He also hates Biden because, again, gas prices are high.
Yeah. And the entire time he's making these comments, Sam's just like, you can't say that. So, but when he says the Putin thing, Sam's like, no, you can't say that. And then, as they're driving, we pop up a, Discord message between them that happened. And Brian's like, hey, can we make it clear that Putin joke...
it was Sam. Was it Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Sam.
No, it was Brian asking Sam a thing.
Okay.
It was Brian asking Sam, hey, can we make sure and make it clear that Putin joke was made before Putin invaded the Ukraine? To which Sam's response was, it wasn't made before that happened. And then Sam's just like, shit. It's great. It's just an amusing thing to pop up.
We should also mention here that Brian is very British.
Yes, he is.
So, about the time that Sam and Brian get to Sacramento, they get a video message from Ben and Adam telling them they've claimed Wyoming.
Yes, because they managed to find 3 bugs. It took way too long. Their creek plan didn't pan out because it was 60 degrees in...
59, but yeah.
60 in Cheyenne.
And that's in freedom units, Fahrenheit's.
Yes, 15 degrees Celsius.
And Brian's like, I don't even know where Wyoming is.
Yeah.
And then Sam goes, me neither.
Yeah, it's great.
And me, watching the show, goes, me neither. I literally turned to Justin, like, where is Wyoming even at?
Before, because he said we watched a bit and we couldn't remember what state they were going up to.
Yeah, I was like, what state's north of Colorado?
Which one are they going to? Which one's north of Colorado? And I went, I don't know. I think maybe Wyoming? I think Cheyenne's the capital of Wyoming? I don't know, man. I was right, surprisingly. I don't think I knew that before we'd watched a few minutes earlier, and then my brain just forgot I learned a thing.
Indeed. And so we get Brian and Sam's first challenge, which is to go to the nearest Indian restaurant in a 2-mile radius and ask them for the spiciest food they have.
Yeah.
And they have to eat the entire spicy
food
dish.
But before that, because they get that call, we get to see Sam trying to plan out what Adam and Ben's possible plan is. Because why are they in Wyoming? Where could they possibly going from Wyoming? What could they do from Wyoming? And he's sitting there and then he kind of realizes it.
Well, he and Brian both understand that, Brian doesn't, because Brian has asked.
Yeah, no, they rubber duck it, this situation, until they figure it out. But the best part is, after that video call ends, while Sam's just trying to work it out, because he's talking through their video a bit, after they say they claim it, they're taunting Sam basically about how they took the first day, and he was being super confident. But after their video ends, Brian just goes, I really like those guys. And Sam's like, no, you don't say that. Don't say that.
But Sam worked it out very quickly that the reason why they took Cheyenne first is because they were going to have to go back to Denver anyways, because Denver's airport is larger and a better hub than Cheyenne.
Yeah.
So it made sense for them to claim Cheyenne and then go back to Denver, claim Denver, and then leave.
But also, Ben and Adam get to their challenge before Sam and Brian get to their challenge.
So yeah, Ben and Adam's second challenge.
Yeah, they get back down to Denver.
That's right, because Brian and Sam get the video message as they get off the plane in San Francisco. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. My bad. Which means it was actually earlier than noon that they got that message.
So Ben and Adam's next challenge is that they have to get one of their team members intoxicated, and Adam's driving, so Ben has to get drunk.
Also, the Denver Capitol building gets 5.3 flags out of 7.
Okay. I didn't note these flag ratings. I just enjoyed them as they came, so I'm happy you noted them.
Also, it's Denver. The challenge card says they have to get one of their team members intoxicated. They instantly assume that means drunk, but they are in Colorado. It would have been faster and easier just to get him insanely high.
I don't recall seeing if it came out of their budget or not. If it does, it might have been cheaper to get him drunk, though.
I didn't say come out of their budget either. I don't think challenges come out of your budget.
I don't think so. But anyways, they go to a dive bar, which had been voted one of the area's best dive bars. But they have to get him super drunk. And the drinks they order are 4 shots of vodka. And they're also going to get some food. And this is where we learn they have to eat. Whatever. Actually, we learn they have to eat after this.
Yeah, because they
grab food at the airport in a moment.
Yeah, they eat McDonald's for their meal.
But the bartender gives Ben 4 shots of vodka. Or that's what they claim. But they are definitely fucking half full rocks glasses. Which would be like 10 fucking shots. Which makes sense for when we see Ben later. And the great part of here is they say Ben's a fucking lightweight. And now he's doing what I would assume to be approximately maybe 2.5 shots per glass.
So a small rocks glass holds 6 to 7 ounces of liquid.
Yeah.
A standard shot is 1.75 ounces. Which means filling these cups halfway up is about 3.5 ounces.
Which is about
2 shots each.
Yeah.
Which means at minimum, he's drinking 8 shots of vodka. Mm-hmm. And he's drinking them back to back.
With occasional sips of water in between.
Indeed.
At least as far as the edit goes.
Also, they're very clear that he doesn't drink very often.
Yeah. So then they claim Denver, and they send a message to let Sam and Brian know, which they get just before they do their own challenge. And Sam and Brian's video is great. I mean, Adam and Ben's, because it's just Ben looking already fucked up, and Adam will be like, yeah, so Ben's really drunk, but that's because we did this challenge, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and then Brian and Sam get the challenge for California, which is to eat the spiciest thing at the nearest Indian restaurant, which ends up just being this sauce. But they get it with an order of samosas.
Yeah.
Apparently the sauce is very hot, which reasonable, but like I expected like a curry, honestly.
Yeah. And Sam tries a bit, and honestly, if Brian was here, I don't know how long Sam would take, or if he could tough it out, because he does not react well to it. Mm-hmm. Whereas Brian's just like munching down on it, which fair Indian food is very popular in Britain. So.
Well, also he apparently spent a year living in Malaysia.
Yeah. So like the man's probably pretty good with spice. But while they're doing that, we see Ben and Adam at an airport. And they're getting McDonald's for their food.
Indeed.
And Ben is so fucked up. They have 2 bags of McDonald's, and he has like his arms around both of them, and they're like he's pulled them up to his face. His hair's messed up. You can tell by the flush in his cheeks and his eyes how like gone his eyes are.
In the car on the way to the airport, Ben's like, "It illegal for it to go through airplane drunk?"
Yeah. And then the moment he first takes a bite of fries, he's like, This is fantastic. This is great.
It illegal for it to go through airplane drunk?
Yeah. That's like all we hear from them. Then they board their plane, not telling us where they're going, but they're boarding a plane somewhere. And they talk about how it's going to be pretty important for like their next part of their plan, but we don't know what it is. And then we cut back to Sam and Brian, who are driving to Carson City, Nevada.
Which is just a couple hours from Sacramento.
And also apparently the capital of Nevada. I had no idea what the fucking capital of Nevada was.
If you had pressed me, I would have said Reno. I know it's not Las Vegas.
And Reno is the only other fucking one you know?
Yes.
Yeah, fair.
If you'd been like, what's the capital of Nevada? I've been like, Reno.
Yeah, honestly, it looks a lot nicer than I've ever seen any image of anywhere in Nevada look.
Well, it's because it's Northern California, basically.
Yeah, it's basically just Northern California.
But
they make it to the capital, and their challenge is to bowl a strike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it has to be in an actual bowling lane with actual bowling pins. They can't like just set up things and then roll something at it.
Yeah.
So they go to a bowling alley.
At about 3:40ish, 3:50ish in the afternoon on a Thursday.
Well, it's 3:50, and Brian's looking at the map on his phone and says they're 8 minutes away from the bowling alley. So about 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon
in March,
they go to this bowling alley.
And all of the lanes are full, apparently. What the fuck, Carson City? Who the fuck is bowling to that degree?
What the fuck is going on in the fucking state of Nevada?
I don't think Nevada has any actual jobs. I don't think a job exists in Nevada. I think they travel out of the state. I think Nevada is just where you go to do entertainment.
You either work at the casinos
or the bowling alleys, nothing in between.
The legal prostitution houses, the hotels,
or apparently the bowling alleys.
The bowling alleys, or you don't work in the state of Nevada. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Nevada, the pure service industry.
Almost like Hawaii, but at least Hawaii is reluctant about it.
So they go find a second bowling alley. Brian was talking about that he's decent at bowling.
And Sam's like, I'm not, but I could try.
And Brian hits a strike in 2 frames.
Yeah. Sam's first one isn't bad. It looks...
Well, Sam's first
one is a gutter ball, sorry.
Sam's first roll is a gutter ball.
Yeah. His second one...
He picks up a spare off a gutter ball.
Honestly, it looks beautiful right until it hits those pins. It looks like it's all going to go down. The two on the far right stand up.
He knocks them all down.
I'm talking about...
Because it's a spare off of a gutter ball.
Oh, yeah.
He hit all 10 pins. Yeah. If he had done that on his first roll, they'd have been done frame 2.
Yeah.
But instead they're done on frame 3, which is the second frame Brian bowls, which he hits a strike on his first roll.
So they're out of there pretty quickly, and they win Nevada.
So Sam and Brian then are trying to determine what their next move is, but it heavily depends on what Adam and Ben's next move is. And this is about the time that they receive the video from
Ben and Adam about how they have claimed
Denver, and seeing that video, seeing them in the airport, and Ben and Adam are quick to get off the call because they're afraid that they're going to get spotted.
Mm-mm.
Oh, this isn't that? My bad.
No, you're thinking of the end of the next episode.
My bad. Yeah.
So Ben and Adam get a call about how Sam and Brian have claimed Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both like, oh, it's going to be perfectly fine. It's not a problem to us at all. In fact, we're looking great. And then we come back to Brian and Sam, where Brian is pointing out this bird statue of a bird and going, look, a bird, freedom. And he makes an eagle screechy sound because it's an eagle. And Sam's just like, yeah, Brian did that earlier, but it was just for a picture, so... I guess he had to get it on video.
And then Brian goes...
Brian and Sam have a straight man routine going on here.
And then Brian,
that's pretty good.
Then Brian's like, it was a great picture. Cut to picture. Incredibly blurry.
Yeah. So then Sam and Brian are trying to figure out where they should go. And they're talking about how a lot of what they do is going to depend on...
where Ben and Adam go.
Yeah, because they have some good options, but it's going to be really determined on where Ben and Adam go. And as Sam's talking, he's like, the worst place they could go for us is Arizona. And then we cut to the boys. That's what I have noted Ben and Adam as in my notes.
Before you cut to this...
because I'm repping their team.
We should note that Sam and Brian are leaving for Arizona in the morning.
Yes.
They've already bought their tickets. They're stuck in Nevada for the night.
They cannot make it anywhere before their time runs out.
Mm-hmm. Then we cut to Ben and Adam, or the boys, as you call
them. That's what they are. My note. It was either then writing their names repeatedly. And they are pulling up outside of a Capitol building somewhere in the dark. And that is the end of episode 1.
So, after episode 1, would you watch more of this, Justice?
Absolutely. The editing is actually great. Both groups have a good chemistry. Ben and Adam feed each other on this weird, funny bit thing that they do sometimes. And you can tell they're genuinely like friends, which makes sense. They're doing this YouTube content together. And generally, that implies a more closeness. Not always, but they are fairly humorous. And the challenges are entertaining with the way they handle them. And Sam and Brian also have good humor going on between each other with their basically straight man routine, with Brian just saying weird shit and Sam being like, no, literally there was a point on the way to Carson City after the part about the trees and the beetle where Brian made a statement like, so what you're telling me is forest fires are fake. And
no.
Forest fires aren't a problem, and global warming is fake.
Forest fires are good for the world.
Oh, yeah.
And global warming is fake.
And Sam's like, well, actually, forest fires aren't bad as long as they're not threatening human structures and blah, 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 blah. And and as far as global warming goes, fires aren't great given the most historic drought. And then Brian's just on the side going it was just a joke. I didn't want to actually learn any of this, which I feel that way so often, because I'll make an obvious joke around Josh and just be like, I'm going to talk about all the facts about it. I'm like, I know the facts. That's why I said the joke, because it was funny, because it's very counterintuitive to the facts. And I know them. It'd
be better and more easily understandable if when you made a joke, it didn't just sound like you were talking normally.
I'm sorry, my voice has no inflection to it. So is that how I should talk from now on? Should every one of my jokes go, oh?
So you would watch more?
Yes, I would watch more.
Me too. I really enjoy the show. I don't want to I'm going to go ahead and do it. We haven't watched this season before. This is the first time we're watching season 1 and we're reviewing it for the show.
Yes.
But
we hadn't watched any of this show before Friday.
Yes, but we did get introduced into the show with season 12, at the start of season 12.
Because I'd seen a bunch of shit about jet lag before, and I was like, I'm vaguely interested, so I watch.
No, you were like, oh, jet lag. That show where those rich assholes waste money at destroying the planet.
I never fucking said that.
That was literally your take on the show.
No.
Yeah, you were like, I don't actually know if the show's good or not, but
Yeah, I said that was my very first thought when I first heard about it. When I'd heard even slightly more about it, I was like, it doesn't seem like that at all, but I'm still not super interested in it. Because I then said it reminded me of, God damn it, total drama cartoon show to the...
You're talking about The Amazing Race.
It reminded me very much of The Amazing Race, which I have watched, and I did not like.
I've never seen The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't even know what the conceit of it was until you explained it.
Yeah. At first, my first thought was, that's fucking ridiculous, wasting a fuck ton of money for YouTube content, and, endangering the world. And then I learned a bit more, and I was like, okay, it seems like they're more responsible about it. I'm not super against it.
But anyway,
but it seems like The Amazing Race, and I didn't care for that.
Season 12 is the three of them playing hide and seek across Japan.
Yes, and
which
it's been
is as wild as you think it sounds. And we watched that and we're like, we should review this show. Like, this is good. I wonder if season 1 is as good.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we jump back to review season 1. And after episode 1 of season 1, I can tell you I'd still watch more of season 1. And I'm interested in watching more of the show in general. Like,
yes. So then, onwards to episode 2, which I will let you say the name of because I know you enjoy doing that.
The Big Strategy Day.
The Big Strategy Day. And we pick right up basically where we left off. So we pick up with episode 2. And I'm sorry, I lied to you. We didn't cut episode 1 right there. We do have Adam yelling, "We're in Arizona," right before the end of episode 1.
No, he yells at the beginning of episode 2.
It's both.
Okay.
I just looked and it is in my notes from section 1. It's in my notes down here.
So day 2 starts with a recap and an explanation of the rules.
Yes.
But the recap does leave us with Ben and Adam outside the Arizona State Capitol.
Fun fact, they're not outside the state capitol. They are 300 meters from it because it is dark and it is another government building right in front of it that also looks fairly fancy. They think they're the capitol when they're not. Technically, they cheated.
Interesting. But also,
they have a little tag about it.
Two out of 7 U.S. flags.
I'm sorry? 2 out of 7 flags for what? The Capitol building they didn't fucking visit?
Yes. You can judge something without visiting it or seeing it or watching it.
Yeah, like I did the show before I watched it.
Yeah, because you were like, the stupid rich people destroying the environment for YouTube content.
Yeah, they're almost as bad as Mr. Beast.
Except they're not, like, exploiting children to do it. So
they pull their challenge card, and it is to find a local... So they pull out a challenge card, and it is to find a local paper and complete a puzzle in it.
In order to claim Arizona.
Yes.
Now, they do this before they have to get to their hotel for the night, but they decide not to do the challenge until the morning.
Yes.
Because they don't want Sam and Brian to be able to change where they're going in the morning.
They are hoping they're going to be on their way to Arizona, and they want to hit them with it while they're in the air.
Exactly. Because then they've already wasted time and money going to a state that they can't get.
And it amuses Ben.
Yeah, but it's also strategically advantageous. So they have to go like 3 different places before they can finally find a newspaper.
Yeah, and while they're struggling to find a newspaper, we cut to Sam and Brian at a nice hotel room, and Sam's being like, I bet Ben and Adam, just by having a good day, I bet they don't have as good of a hotel room as we do.
Well, it's because their hotel rooms got upgraded for free. Like, they paid $130 a night for each of them for this hotel, and like they have full-on suites with like a living room separated from a bedroom and a bathroom, nice. And they both have that. They both have full-on suites and bedrooms. And because they're in Nevada, they decide to spend the rest of their evening engaging in Nevada-based debauchery.
Yeah, they gamble with money from their budget and win money and put it back in the budget, which was not a mechanic I knew existed in the game.
Yeah, I think that makes Nevada stronger.
Yeah, I was unaware that was a mechanic, but okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it actually matters. Neither team actually comes close to bottoming their budget.
Yeah, and it doesn't come up, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and they decide to gamble and drink for the rest of the night.
And then we cut to Ben and Adam, who are at a hotel named Howard Johnson. Not the Howard Johnson, just Howard Johnson.
Hojo, lead singer of Killswitch Engage.
And
lead singer of the band The Devil You Know.
Honestly, it looks like it's on par with like a Holiday Inn, not a Holiday Express, a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
But it's fine. They managed to find a paper, and this is where they tell us that they're going to complete it in the morning and catch them in the air.
This is also where in the voiceover, Sam explains to us that the first time they tried one of these games, there was no rule about sleeping.
So they almost killed their camera guy with exhaustion.
Which means that the simple solution to that is just fire your cameraman.
And make a rule to people where they have to sleep.
And there was a joke about firing the camera.
Yeah. So they don't have a cameraman in this show. This is all recorded on phones by themselves.
Yeah, because it's as far as YouTube content goes, this is also technically vlogging.
Yeah. And I understand
why travel vlogs.
Yeah. And I understand why they don't have a cameraman. I assume the cameraman was part of the test in the Conceit series just to see how well it worked. And having a cameraman for each team and getting them everywhere and having them not be caught along with the person, it's going to be a lot harder, like for other games that they play where they play like hide and seek or tag or something. So I understand it, and it's fine. It does mean we have weird camera things at points because they're hiding their phone or they have their phone down, but it's not bad overall. The film quality is generally still quite good throughout the series.
Huh. This episode actually has a different name depending on where you watched it.
Oh, yeah?
Because the YouTube title for this episode is Flying 1,200 Miles to Ruin Our Boss's Plan. Because Sam is technically Adam and Ben's boss.
Yeah. Huh. Neat. On Nebula, it's the Big Strategy Day. So now, it's morning time, and Sam and Brian are the first people we meet in this day, and Sam asks Brian where he thinks they're going to end up at the end of the day. And Brian's like, Santa Fe. And Sam's just like, that's where we're going right now. We're not going to end up there. We're going there now. That's the first place we're going. And Brian's like, I don't know, I would still like to end up in Santa Fe.
Yeah. I am confused by this, though, because why did they not claim New Mexico?
Because they don't end up going to Santa Fe?
Oh, did they cancel that?
Santa Fe, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, because I was just looking at the timeline and I was confused vastly because I thought they went to Arizona.
They do. And so we then got to Ben and Adam finishing their crossword, and they manage to claim it just before Sam and Brian land. And then they take off on their plane.
Yes. Well, and also it's important to note that claiming Arizona blocks one of the 4-way paths from California and Nevada.
Yes. So just after Sam and Brian get off their plane into Arizona, because it is a connecting flight into Arizona, then back out to Santa Fe. That's how they were going to claim Arizona first. Mm-hmm. They get the video from Ben and Adam about how they just claimed Arizona.
Okay, so they were going to Santa Fe, New Mexico, but they had a connecting flight in Arizona.
Yes, and then Sam starts to dissect the fuck out of this video. He's like, oh wait, so they were just here. That's the exact same airport. This is this such and such lounging is held by the things here and here.
And they wanted to get off the call because they were afraid that
their flight was going to be announced.
Which means their flight's leaving soon. So where are they going if they're leaving from this airport?
Flight's just left. He's like, oh, I think they're going to go to Portland. Yeah, they're definitely going to Portland. So then Sam and Brian take off to the Santa Fe gate. Mm-hmm. And we go over to Ben and Adam, who did indeed head to Portland.
Which the only reason they would go to Portland is to block. There's no strategic value to Portland for them.
It is just to block Sam off and make it easy for them to win. Because by taking Portland, they are blocking off a lot of the north section.
Well, taking Oregon, because Portland's not the capital of Oregon.
Yeah. So by taking Oregon, they're cutting off a lot of the section for Sam to take the north.
And so Sam and Brian, instead of going to Santa Fe, change gears here and head to Idaho. Because
yes, we do have more Ben and Adam first, though.
Okay.
Because
they have to take an hour-long Uber to Salem?
Yes.
Yeah.
So their plan is to rush to Salem, Oregon, to get the capital, and then they hope to make it back because they have a flight at 1. We don't know what the flight is, but they have a flight at 1, and they have to get back very, very quickly from Salem. Mm-hmm. So they can catch an Uber because it's the fastest way there. Really expensive, but it's going to be the fastest way for them to get there and back. Yeah. And then we cut to Sam and Brian, who are now reevaluating their plan since they know the boys are going to Portland.
And they realize that one of their their north-south Connect 4s is getting blocked. So instead of taking New Mexico, because they've already been blocked from a east-west on New Mexico.
They want to find a way to assure they have a spot in the north.
So they cancel their flight to Santa Fe and head up to Boise, Idaho.
Mm-hmm. That way they can claim an area to the north so they won't get completely cut off. That is why they never end up in New Mexico.
But by claiming Boise, it does mean that they have to take Montana next. Because the only way to get a vertical 4 in a row with Boise, California, and Nevada is to take Montana.
Yeah, so they're hoping by grabbing Idaho, they won't be completely cut off in the north. Mm-hmm. So back with Ben and Adam in their Uber. Their Uber driver has apparently been helping them plan their strategy, and they're like, dude, if this guy was competing, we'd be fucked.
And he also is like, once we get to Salem's capital, I'll wait for you, and we can take you wherever you need to go in the town.
Whatever challenge you have, I'll help you get there.
And I'll help you get back to Portland.
Yeah, so they just got a fucking god-tier Uber driver. They don't have to worry about trying to find their Uber, so that saves them time. Especially because it's a long drive from Salem to Portland. It's good money, but not everyone wants to make that Uber drive. Mm-hmm.
So they get to the Salem Capitol building. It's 6 U.S. flags out of 7, and their challenge that they draw is called Bury a Treasure.
And they have to bury a treasure that is valued of $50 or more. They have to bury it 3 inches deep, leave a conspicuous sign to make sure someone can find it, and they need to make sure that the item is preserved enough that whoever finds it can use it and or enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. So they decide they don't have time to go buy something.
Yeah.
And so they're going to bury Adam's MacBook charger
at a park.
And as they're burying it, this group of teenagers comes up and is like, what are you doing?
And like, oh, we are currently doing a competition-like thing, and this is like a scavenger hunt part of it. And so we're burying this MacBook charger. If you guys want it, you can have it. You just gotta...
It's worth $80.
Yeah, you just gotta unbury it. Here's the sign we made, which literally just says MacBook charger, dig up if you want it, basically.
Mm-hmm. So they finish that and claim
Oregon,
and then have to rush back to Portland to get their flight.
Yeah, and we know they're very obviously rushing back because we cut to Sam and Brian as they get the video, and they see that it is the quickest video Adam and Benson.
Basically no bragging.
Yeah. We do not see it on camera at all because Brian doesn't have anything in frame, really. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, hey, we got Oregon, gotta go by. And they are. You can hear them running, you can hear them out of breath. And that's when Brian and Sam realize they also need to fucking hurry.
So, when they get this video, they have already arrived in Boise, which is the capital of Idaho.
Yep.
And their challenge for the capital of Idaho is to find a statue and pose in the same position as the statue for 5 minutes without moving.
And the statue has to be at least 100 meters from the Capitol building because Capitol buildings sometimes have statues.
So they go looking for a statue. Takes them a while to find it.
They try to go into a parking garage, but they can't because it's government property. Then they go up the stairs, get on top of it, and try to look from the top to find anything and can't see a thing.
They end up going to St. Luke's Hospital.
Because they're like, hospitals sometimes have statues.
And they end up finding a memorial statue dedicated to like 100-something nurses who died in a fire at St. Luke's Hospital.
Yeah. After debating for a while, though, if a green slow sign in the shape of a small child holding a little flag counts as a sign or a statue?
It's made of wood, and it was like...
I mean, it's made of plastic. It's made of green plastic.
Oh, yeah.
I know those
definitely
things.
not a statue.
Yeah. And Sam is very much on like, if it's a statue, and Brian's like, no, I don't think so, man.
They end up finding the statue dedicated to the nurses of St. Luke's Hospital.
Yeah.
And it's just a woman looking down wearing like a cloak. Mm-hmm. So very easy to just stand like that for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so Brian's standing there, and the entire time Sam is poking fun at him, offering him snacks, mocking him. And it's like this little audio montage of like them starting to overlap and things to show the passage of time, and also because it's kind of amusing. And then once they get done, Brian accidentally knocks his mic off and then kicks it. Mm-hmm. So he apologizes to the audio producer.
Well, this is going on though. Adam and Ben are talking about what Sam and Brian could be doing.
Yeah, why it's taking them so long.
And they're like, the best thing for us would be if they're claiming Idaho right now.
Yeah.
And then they get a video message being like, we just claimed Idaho.
Yep.
Which bodes well for them because they predicted where Sam and Brian were, which helps them with the plan that they're doing.
Yeah.
So, what is their plan, you may ask? Well, their plan, Ben and Adam's plan, or did you want to go with the mic stuff? Sorry.
Well, I'm fine. That's not necessary. But we get their plan shortly after Sam tries to work it out.
Yeah.
And Sam starts working on their plan because they complete their thing and FaceTime Ben and Adam.
Yes.
And Ben and Adam hang up on them very shortly because this is actually where they're worried about their flight being overheard. Not earlier. It's this one.
No, it was the one where they were in the same airport.
No. Sam works out the same airport thing from that. This is where he's looking.
Yeah.
We know they're in Portland. They just claimed Oregon.
Yeah, okay.
Their flight's about to go. What flights are about to leave Portland? Mm-hmm. So he works out that he thinks they're probably going to Salt Lake City, Utah, and catching a connecting flight, maybe.
To Butte.
Or somewhere else, but they're pretty sure it's probably Butte.
To Butte, Montana. Now, Montana's incredibly important here, because if Brian and Sam take Montana, that creates a connect four between Montana, Idaho, Nevada, and California.
Yes.
If Ben and Adam have Montana, all they need is
Utah to
make a connect four between Montana, Utah,
Arizona, and Wyoming.
Yes, that's the four.
Yeah.
So it's a race to Montana.
Yeah, and Sam is like, fuck, there's no way we can get there. They're going to get it. That's where they're going. I guarantee it's where they're going. And he's just sitting there kind of commiserating. And Brian's like, well, could we get there? And Sam's like, no, there's no way. Brian's like, we could at least check.
Yeah, because Sam's like, there's no way. Their flight just left. And Brian's like, yeah, but aren't we geographically closer?
So they check, and they can get to Salt Lake City, Utah at about the same time and make it to the same exact flight.
For Butte, which is insane. So
then we cut to Ben and Adam. They get on their flight. It's gonna be great. They're talking about how like this day started off really, really good, and that they have a beautiful plan. And they're not gonna tell us what it is, but let's just say things are gonna get a bit hairy up north. They don't say they're going to Montana or anything, but they're like up north.
But we cut to Ben and Adam landing in Utah, and then we follow them as they get onto a bus where a woman's like, Butte, and they're like, yeah. So they get on this bus,
and then we cut to Sam and Brian walking through an airport
in
and then
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Walking down a very similar looking tunnel, seeing a similar lady who then is like,
well, they see a bus pull off, and then a lady's like, Butte? And they're like, yeah, she'll be like, well, just 1 minute.
I got another bus coming.
And they're literally a bus behind Ben and Adam.
We see Ben and Adam get on the plane. They're looking super happy. They get settled. And then this episode ends shortly after. Sam and Brian walk onto the plane. Brian sits down, and Sam walks farther back into the plane and finds Ben and Adam. It's like, hey guys. They're like, wait, what? How?
Adam is absolutely stunned, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Before we give our personal takes on this and talk about if we would watch more of it, I do want to let you know, as a passenger, if this show sounds cool to you, I have important news. We've done this before, and we're doing it again. This is a season that only has 3 episodes, and you just heard us review the first 2. So if you want to hear how it pans out, because honestly, competition shows just snag me so hard. I'm like, oh, I want to know who won. You can go watch the last episode. It's on YouTube. It's been on YouTube for almost 3 years now.
Fuck, you could watch the first 2 episodes as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to. I think we talked about it pretty well. But
yeah, it's on YouTube. You can go watch it for free. You'll have commercials, or you can pay $3 a month and go watch it on Nebula. Or you can pay like $13 a month and watch it on YouTube Premium.
Yeah. Or you could just have ad blocker and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. But anyways, Justice, what do you think of episode 2?
I mean, it's just as good, and the editing done in the last part of the episode is fucking great. Because there's another point where we actually, before we see either of the planes land, we get a map shot, because we have map shots where it shows people traveling. And we see, is it Ben and Adam board, Sam and Brian board, and then we see both their flights take off, and they're just flying into the same direction, and then we see both their icons appear on Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. And then we're cutting back and forth between Ben and Adam and Sam and Brian at the end to basically progress our way through this airport bit by bit, but from different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Would you watch more?
I would watch more.
Okay.
What about you?
I also really enjoyed it. This happens in the Japanese hide and seek episode as well, hide and seek season as well.
Yeah.
But the emergent narrative that comes from their gameplay is spectacular, because it could end up being a case where they their paths never intersect, they never see each other.
Yeah.
It's two separate people playing two separate games.
Yeah.
It could be two low interaction combo decks sitting across from each other, trying to win, but not actually playing a game with each other.
Yeah, it could literally just be, okay, who can get the 4 fastest flights in a row?
Yeah.
To these linear places.
That's not what they do. That's not how they play. And because of that...
They are looking for game interaction, and thus they have a game interaction, and their challenges encourage it, which is nice.
Exactly. I love this show. Based on having watched season 12 in its entirety so far, all 5 episodes that are currently out on season 12, and watching these 2 episodes in season 1, I am very solidly, I feel very solid in saying
it's the best reality show I've watched in quite a while.
It's the best competition-based show on YouTube I've ever seen.
Yes, and it's probably one of the best competition shows I've seen in quite a long time.
Oh, actually, Task Manager might be up there as well.
Task Manager, as far as YouTube stuff goes. And then Taskmaster is a very strong argument for great competition show, but I said one of the best, not the best.
Yeah. If you don't know what Task Manager is, you should check out Stans.
Or you could also watch Unpaid Intern from Ludwig.
Which is a spin-off of Task Manager in that
basically
it's much more legally distinct and less likely to get you sued for copyright infringement.
And uses people you'll recognize instead of Stan's Twitch viewers.
Yeah.
Though arguably the Twitch viewers are a bit more unhinged.
Yeah, because...
So it depends on what you want from it.
But yeah, I think this is probably one of the best game shows I've seen, competition shows I've seen. It's right up there with Survivor being a perfect game show.
It's honestly super fucking good.
Survivor is, in my opinion, well, maybe Taskmaster or Survivor are the perfect competition show. One of those two. I know they're vastly different, but
Survivor is better if you want more reality show aspects. Taskmaster is better if you want clever problem solving.
But this is right up there with them. I would say Jetlag the game is easily top 5 competition shows of all time.
Yeah, it's quite fun.
Now, I don't want to be a shill because we already shilled for Nebula like crazy.
But if you also want to play Jetlag the game with your friends, they have cards you can buy starting in January of this month?
Yeah, starting this month, you can buy copies of the cards they use and dice they use for hide and seek.
Yes.
And
it might have some of the challenge cards for other things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it properly.
It's specifically Jetlag the game hide and seek. So and they have adjustable rules so you can just play in the town you live in.
Yeah, smaller areas, larger areas.
Yeah. So really cool. I think the game is specifically pitched to it's a game of public transportation, so you you probably need to live in a city that has public transpo.
You don't necessarily have to, I would assume, but you would be looking at a lot more walking or biking or whatever. But hey, if you like taking hikes, but you want to make it more fun and involve your friends, do it. Just obviously make sure you're doing it in a safe area and in a safe manner.
And obeying laws.
Yes. But if that sounds like your cup of tea, fuck yeah. I would do it if I had more friends in the area to hang out with and would participate.
Honestly, it'd be a really cool thing for Gen Con week.
Oh yeah.
For if we could just arrive in Indy on Monday and be there till Monday, a full week in Indy, on Tuesday and Wednesday before Gen Con. Just a small game of perfect. But I like the show. It's one of my favorite competition shows I've ever watched. You should watch it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everybody should watch it.
And if you have already watched it, because it's from a fairly popular YouTube channel.
We got introduced to it by a fairly popular YouTuber or Twitch streamer.
Yeah, and it was already popular before that.
Yeah.
But if you have, and thus you already know about it or have opinions about it, you can let us know those by emailing us at copilotsreview@gmail.com, or you can do so by getting in contact with us in a number of other ways.
Such as our Blue Sky account, which is at copilotsreview. And you can find both of those, as well as other ways to contact us, but also including our YouTube channel, our Discord, our Patreon, and a second hidden email.
Yeah. It's so hidden, I forgot what it was.
Me too. You can find all of that except the hidden email, which you'll have to go back and listen through the archive of Copilots to find by going to copilotsreview.simplecast.com.
But you know what, Josh? After this flight, I'm feeling pretty tired, a bit worn out. What's the word you would use?
Sick. My throat's sore. I have a runny nose.
I don't think that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of jet lagged. I'm feeling pretty jet lagged. So I think we're just gonna have to catch you guys on the next flight. Thanks for flying, and please fly again soon.
It is insane how perfect this show is for us to review.
Right?